Welcome. This is Samantha Skelly, and you are listening to the Hungry for Happiness podcast, where we dig deep and discover how to reconnect into your body, heal your relationship to food, and finally feel the liberation and freedom you desire. Kleenex is encouraged, and pants are optional. What's up, Phoenixes, and welcome to episode number 15. I am your host, Samantha Skelly, and today I am interviewing the wonderful Sunny Lenarduzzi. Sunny is an amazing, down-to-earth force. She's just full of radical honesty. In this episode, we talk about people-pleasing, setting boundaries, and standing behind your truth, which is such a hot topic in the Hungry for Happiness community. You know, it was one of those things that for me, I had to really be honest with myself and ask myself, what is it costing me to be a people pleaser? What is it costing me to not put myself first, to not set healthy boundaries, and to not be connected into my truth? Sunny is a former broadcaster turned award-winning video, social media, and online business strategist. Sunny has worked with clients across industries, helping Hootsuite develop a YouTube series that increased subscriptions by 75%. Applebee's hit 1 billion impressions in one day. Sunny is also the creator of Boss Video Branding, a digital course to leverage social media for your business. I hope you enjoy this episode. What's up, Phoenixes, and welcome back to the Hungry for Happiness podcast. I have my girl, Sunny Lenarduzzi, on the show today. I first met Sunny, well, she sent me this amazing Instagram video, and we were living in the same freaking city, literally 5 or 10 minutes away from each other, and I had never met her. I had a friend staying with me, and he's like, "Do you know Sunny Lenarduzzi?" And I was like, "No, who's that?" And as soon as we met each other, I fell in love with you.
Kiddo.
Full disclosure, hashtag girl crush, no. And we just sat at a coffee shop for 3 hours and just talked about all the things. And it was amazing. I remember us both going, we just literally bared our souls to each other for the first time, you know. It was I had zero guards, up with you. It was such a cool thing. And from there, it's just been amazing getting to know you. So I wanted to bring you on the show because you're a wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and you're doing amazing things in the world. So thank you for being here, girl.
I'm so excited. And I think it's funny because no matter when or where we talk, that seems to happen. We tend to just avoid all surface and just go right into the
It's so true. It's so true. It's never so how you been? It's never that. It's tell me your childhood wounds.
So now we're just recording it, but
exactly. We're we should probably share this with the world because it's pretty valuable if we say so ourselves.
Yeah.
So the first question we ask all our guests is, what is the number one thing about life that makes you feel most alive?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Right?
What is the number one thing about, love, to be honest, connection to people. And I feel very, very, very lucky, and I count my blessings every day that I live in a time where I have relationships with people that I've never even met. And these deep relationships where I love them and I'm so grateful for them. And they're people all over the world. And I think when it comes to what I do for a living, my entire business has been built on community and connection. So whether it's my personal life or my professional life, I would have to say that love and connection with people is what makes me feel alive every day.
I find it so fascinating how you do this. Obviously on an intimate one-to-one level, me being one of your friends and just really seeing this come out of you, but how you're able to do this on your social platforms and the genuine nature of everything you do literally blows me away. It's amazing. And I don't know what it is about you, Sunny, honestly, but it's everything I see that you do online, it's this girl actually gives a shit about people, you know? And I think
it's really funny.
It's there's a lot of people and you can tell the energy behind what they're doing. It's this very Getty energy.
Yes, very Getty. Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing so that I can get something from you. But you're how you are in life as a person and with your community is very much that place of just giving from a place of abundance. And you've been handsomely rewarded for
for that nature, which is a beautiful thing that really can't be taught. I think it's just something that you just innately have. So that's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny. I saw you post something yesterday, and I know this is a little off topic, but it kind of relates back to this. You were like, I can tell when you're using fake vulnerability to sell. And ditto. And it happens so much. And I just think like, I really do think the more real you are and the more honest you are about your sales process and the fact that like you're a business, the better you're going to do, because you are a business at the end of the day. And we all have, you know, things we need to achieve within our business. And I think the interesting thing, and something that I've noticed time and time again, is that people will do these big launches, or they'll do these big projects, and they'll be super, super active and super engaged with their community, and then they go silent.
Yeah.
And I always say it's like inviting somebody to your house party and then blocking them and never seeing them again. And for me, I'm just like, well, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn by any means, but I didn't start my business, and I'll say this fully, like, honestly, I didn't start my business thinking in a business mindset. I started using social media to be social, to interact with people, to connect with people, and to share really good informative content. And that builds connections with people. And I've never stopped doing that. Like, no matter if I'm in a launch, no matter if I'm selling things or I'm not, I've always been active, and I've built relationships. And I swear to you, your tribe is your trust fund. The more that you're sharing information and you're building that community, the more value you're going to get when you do have something to sell, because people know you're not just there to sell to them. You're there to actually give a shit. And I always, it's funny that you use that term, because I always say that I'm like, the best thing you can do in your business is give a flying fuck about your people. Like,
absolutely.
If you don't care about your audience and you don't care about your people and you don't want to go above and beyond for them, there are a million other people out there who will. And people can see that really quickly, especially nowadays.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting, like the way that the whole vulnerability thing, you know, Brené Brown has done an amazing job at like really introducing this to the world. And yeah, you're right. I wrote a post. I was like, people are taking that concept and they're like, they're trying to like monetize it and manipulate. Yeah. And so how do you use vulnerability? How do you use like that just like being real to create deep connections with your community, whether that's like in your business or in your personal life?
I think I'm just like very honest, and like some people in my life would say that that's a bit of a fault. And so it's interesting. I'm very honest. And I walk into every situation expecting the best out of people. However, I've gotten a lot better at building boundaries. So I'm still able to be open, but I have boundaries with people now. But I think you can still have boundaries, but still be vulnerable and still create authentic relationships with people. But you just have to set up like what's okay and what's not okay. Yeah. But I think for me, it's as simple as just being honest, like truly, that's what it is. And when I'm telling a story or I'm relaying information, or I'm connecting with somebody or answering a question, I'm doing it in the most honest way. And there's never, and again, this is like, it's a bit of a fault of mine, but in a weird way I've finessed it to work to my advantage, is that there's a lot of people out there who will have communities, or who will have social media profiles, and people want to ask more questions and they want to know exactly how to do little things here and there. Like on a daily basis, today, for example, I probably had about 20 questions come through on all my different platforms. One being, you know, I'm blocked on Instagram. My engagement's not working. How do I fix it? I don't know this person, but they want me to answer it. How do I get more views on YouTube? Whatever else. And I will take the time to sit there and answer them. And I think that's a big differentiating factor, is like, I really do believe the more generous you are, the more abundance you'll receive. Absolutely. And the more you're willing to help somebody for free, the more they're going to think, holy crap, she did that for free. I wonder what her paid content is like, or what her paid offerings are like. Yeah. So one of my first mentors in business really drilled that into my head and modeled it and said, you know, the more generous you are, the more abundance you'll receive. And I didn't really fully get it until I had my own business. And that's how I live my life. And people are always like, you give away so much information in your YouTube videos and whatever. How do you have stuff to sell? And I'm like, because you can always go deeper and there's always more to learn. And And I just don't think about it in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to only give you this much and then I'm going to sell you this much.
For sure.
I think about it as like, I'm going to give you a ton so you walk away knowing what you need to do. And then whether you come back to me today or 5 years from now, I know that I've left a positive sentiment with you and you're going to think positively of me. And that's all I can ask. So I think honestly, I think it's looking at the long game versus the short game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to just like touch on boundaries for a moment because I know this about you. You are good at setting boundaries
now.
And I think, and it's a learning lesson, right? Because it's like, I don't know about you, but I was like a people pleaser to the T. Like you look up that word in the dictionary, it's like there's like a photo of me. Like I was like I would sell my soul to please someone else and like take the hit for myself. And so you mentioned like setting boundaries from a place of love, like doing it in a lovingly way. And I think for a lot of people they don't set boundaries because they think that they're going to wrong someone or they're going to hurt someone or they don't think that they're worth setting the boundary for. There's like that there's like, you know, that worth conversation as well. So I would love for you just to touch on this piece. And how do you set boundaries with love? How do you communicate that to people?
Right. So I think this is definitely being a work in progress for me. It still is. And it's funny, even last night I just had a long day yesterday and it was a good day and it was really amazing opportunities that came my way, but they were big and made me feel a lot of anxiety and made me feel a lot of self-doubt and like, I can't do this. I'm not ready, blah, 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 blah. And what I realized was, I was actually talking to my boyfriend last night and I swear to God, he like doubles as my therapist sometimes, but he was like, you're at your best when you're taking care of yourself. And I think that comes back to the conversation of boundaries, because if I'm setting boundaries out of self-love, it means I'm going to be better for everybody else in my life.
I love this.
In a better way. So I set boundaries from a place of what's good for me, because I have to be at my best to be my best for other people and to emanate positive energy and to create something positive in the people that I'm around. And that's been a hard lesson to learn. And you think that you're doing the right thing by being a people pleaser, but you're actually just like, getting rid of all of your own energy and just being sucked dry by people. And so it's something I learn every day and I'm practicing every day. But I think the biggest thing for me is I set boundaries from a place of self-love, and I do everything I can every day to have my little things that make me feel my best, working out, having a moment of just complete silence, and in the morning doing my gratitude journal at night. I have little like rituals every day that if I fall out of them, I can feel it. And I feel that I'm not at my best and everything feels very frenetic. And I feel like people are just sucking me dry, and I have a bigger tendency to just be like, no, I'm like, I don't want to, out of a place of like being reactionary. So I think that's a big thing. And I think honesty is really big. And also understanding, and this has been huge, and I'm sure that you've gone through this too, being a like recovered people pleaser. It's understanding that you're going to piss people off. And you're going to not be liked by people, and you're going to be called a bitch or whatever else. And people are going to say you're selfish or you're elitist or you're being stingy or whatever it may be. And when that happens, of course, it like kind of hurts.
Irks. Yeah.
But then I take a second and I go, I am giving away so much of myself every day with my community, with my video content, with my social platforms. I'm sharing something every day and I do every piece of content I put out, I do with the intention of either inspiring people, creating a sense of community, or educating people. So everything has a purpose, everything has a reason. And so I know that if people are coming at me with that kind of energy and they're saying, I can't believe you won't meet with me, like F you, or you've changed or whatever else, I'm like, that's your own shit.
Yes. That's
your own shit. And that's you not feeling great about yourself. So like, you do you go take care of yourself, and you come back to me when you have better attitude. So I think that's that's been a really big thing for me, is understanding that people have their own shit, and like nobody's perfect. Truly nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And people are going to come at you with negativity. It doesn't matter. And the more attention you get, the bigger you get, the more of that stuff comes your way, and the more you have to just kind of let it bounce off. But
Absolutely.
I am incapable of letting it bounce off when I'm overtired and I'm not taking care of myself.
Yes.
So that's really where it all ties back together, is I have to be taking care of myself in order to set these like safe boundaries around myself.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I think as well, when we set a boundary with someone, what we're actually doing, like the unspoken truth in that, is we're giving them permission to also set boundaries, you know, because we live in a world of people pleasers. We're all like I grew up and my mom was always said, and this did not come from a place of like her trying to fuck me up. It just is what it is, right? She's like, don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Like, don't put yourself first. And it's like, that was ingrained in my psyche for
100%.
so long. And so I grew up being like hypersensitive to me being selfish. And so I would literally put myself last and put my experience last, because I feared that if I was selfish, I wouldn't be lovable, you know, like if we actually
100%. And that was a pattern in every relationship I've ever had leading up to the relationship I'm in now. And it took a lot of like reprogramming my brain to not, to realize that I can be independent. I can be focused on myself. It's not selfish. It's loving myself first. And that can make me a better partner in the relationship, as opposed to in my past, just like literally losing myself. Because again, I don't want to be seen as a bitch. I don't want to be seen as selfish. I don't want to be disliked. I don't want any of that stuff coming my way. So instead of doing that, I'll just like keep kind of harming myself by like giving all my shit away. So yeah, it's a really fascinating thing. And like, I don't want to go on like the whole like, you know, female empowerment streak, but like,
just go do it. But
like, I think that I look at a lot of my girlfriends, I look at myself, I look at my patterns. It is very much so. And it does happen with men too, but I do feel like that whole like selfish is a bad word thing is so huge with women. And it's because we're taught to be the good girl, be the nice girl, be the helpful girl. We're not taught like, take care of yourself first. And then you can be good for everybody else. And
Absolutely.
I think it's something that needs to be taught, and you need to educate yourself on. And I think people are getting smarter about it. I think people are starting to understand, if you're taking care of yourself, you can do other things and you can take care of other people, but it takes a long time to get there. And it took me a very long time to get there. And it's 100% on me. Cause it was this idea that I created in my head of what I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to behave in any relationship. And it's happened in female relationships. It's happened in my relationships with boyfriends. And it's a constant sort of ebb and flow in my life where I have to be more aware of like how I'm behaving and how that's affecting what I'm getting back from people.
Absolutely. I love that point that you said, like, when I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not at my best, I can't give my best. And I heard this amazing analogy of a pair of sunglasses. So you buy a pair of sunglasses, and doesn't matter how much they are, if you treat them with love and you put them in a case and you like shine them up, the inherent value or worth of those sunglasses is going to go up. Totally. Whereas if you buy that same pair of sunglasses, regardless of how much it costs, if you like shove it in your purse and scratch it up and you toss them around, the inherent value is going to go down. And so the conversation that comes up all the time is like, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel worthy. It's like, okay, well, what are you actively doing to up your baseline of worth? And the answer is mostly, oh, well, nothing. They're putting themselves last and then wondering why this does not come down.
Why they don't feel good. Yeah. And I think that's something that I definitely kind of got knocked over the head with. Was, you know, I know for myself that I have to do certain things every day to feel my best. So those are my non-negotiables, and they have to get done. And that's such a dead on analogy, because when you're not, it's such a vicious cycle. When you're not taking care of yourself, or you're doing things that don't make you feel good, you don't feel worthy of anything. You don't feel worthy of anything that you coming your way. And then you put that out there, and you're only going to receive crap. You're only going to receive bad things from people. So the more you take care of yourself, the more amazing things come your way. And if shit does come your way, you're better equipped to deal with it because you are solid.
Yes. That is so, so, so true. I notice that as I ebb and flow, like when things affect me, like, and they create anxiety or whatever it is, all you have to do is ask yourself, how am I not showing up for myself right
Totally.
now? What's going on? Because when we're so in our power and we know what that feels like and we're feeling worthy, we're feeling clear-headed, when you get handed like a shit sandwich, you're like, oh, cool. This is like divinely created for me to grow, whatever it is. But when you're vibrating at a low state and that same thing happens, you're like, oh my God, my life's over.
Totally. Exactly. Because you have, I always say, I'm like, I have a very low tolerance for this right now. That's my go-to. My tolerance is very low for stress or for anything bad to happen.
Yeah.
And I can feel it in my bones. And the funny thing is, and I think this does play a big part, because yes, as much as I've like done the work and I continue to do the work to be very self-aware, there are times where that innate sort of default mode of just giving kicks in. And I have a really solid crew around me, and it's small but solid, and they will tell me, they'll be like, you're really overtired. You need to go take a nap. You need to go take the day off. You need to just breathe. You need to stop saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
And that is so vital, because you can only do it for yourself so much, and you have to have people in your life that are going to see it before you do.
That's a beautiful point.
Yeah, because sometimes you're not able to. And like when you hit that point of burnout, there's no way you're going to see it, and you're just going to try and power through, and it's so unhealthy.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of my community are overachieving perfectionists. You know, that's why they struggle with like their relationship to their body and their relationship to food, is because everything has to be perfect all the time. And I know for me, like I wore like the mask of, you know, everything's perfect, everything's great, I have to be perfect. And like what came with that was this thinking that I had to say yes to everything, which was, it's literally exhausting.
It's crippling.
To not only show up and try and be perfect every single day. Like the mask of perfectionism is like so deep and so painful and so exhausting.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like the saying no from a place of like, no, because I'm just protecting my flame, I'm protecting my energy, is one of the most energizing things that we can do. And it's a practice, it's a muscle, right? Like the first time you do it, it's like, no, oh my God, oh my God, don't hate me.
And I think it's like, it's not anticipating the reaction. And that's something that I've like had to really practice, is not, I have an issue with, when I say no to people, expecting the worst. So I'm expecting them to tell me to F off or to call me a name or whatever, because I've experienced that in the past. So that's like the story I've created for myself. And I'm getting better by proof of the people that are in my life. I'm getting better at saying what I need to say when I need to say it, and understanding that there isn't going to be this like catastrophic reaction, or I don't have to just flee and abandon the whole situation. But it's, again, that's a whole practice in and of itself, is like not expecting the outcome, just saying what you need to say in the moment, being really, really present.
Yeah, I think we can't do that without presence. Yeah, I think you just like totally dialed it there. Yeah. It's like when we're up in our heads, we're acting from a place of like our inner child or whatever it is, it's very hard to actually stick up for yourselves and figure out and feel out what is a yes and what is a no for me. It's very hard to do that when we're up in our heads. And I think, I know presence is the only thing that really can like drop us in, and we can check in as we're having this conversation. But like, is this okay for me? And if not, what is the healthy boundary I need to create around this? Yeah. Being in your power, girl. So something that I want to, a thread I want to pull on, something that comes up a lot in this community is this whole concept of I feel stuck. I feel stuck. And from my perception of you and how you live your life, I know there's times where you feel this and you don't let it, you're not a victim to it from my perception of what's going on.
Thank you.
So I would love for you to just like touch on and like provide some like insight on, for people who do feel stuck and are in their own way. Your whole brand is about being your own boss. Your whole brand is about.
I'm wearing it right now.
Be your own boss. I love it. I have this amazing sweatshirt that Sunny gave me, and it says "resting boss face." And literally every time I wear it, I feel so good. I love it so much. But that's what that is what your whole jam is about, is like, like we live in a world now, and we like, as far as I'm concerned, we live in the frigging best time of 100%. Life. Like the best time. And I know everyone and their dog is like, oh no, this is like the world's ending. It's like, you know what? you can think that, yes, and that'll be your reality. Cool. I respect your journey. And I'm going to recognize that like we live in a time where we literally can create whatever we want, and we can be whoever we want, and we can live out these dreams and these goals through like this integration of technology and the consciousness raising. We live in a dope time.
That's the best way to put it. It's a dope time. Yeah.
It's a dope time. So I love how like you've literally created a brand around this truth of like being your own boss. Like, what does that actually mean? So what I would love for you to just touch on is we have women in our community and their soul is saying one thing, their head is saying the other, and they feel completely conflicted and stuck in jobs they hate, doing things that they don't want to do. And so I would love for you, and I know this is a broad question, but like whatever comes to mind is like, what do you do to really get out of your own way and take that step when you don't have any evidence yet?
Okay. So great question. I love diving into this topic. So the first thing that kind of came to my mind, and it's something that I say to myself all the time, and I say it to people that I've worked with, is that I always say, tell your brain to get out of your body's way, because you need your brain hoops you all day, every day. Like it's a wonderful, powerful thing, but it's almost too powerful. And it also can play so many tricks on you. So if you're not living in the present moment. So I think the best way to get unstuck is it's baby steps. And I say this all the time. It's literally one foot in front of the other. And I use this analogy all the time. I actually sent it out to my email list today. And in my video that I created today, I think word for word, what you just said is actually in my video today. So I hope everyone watch it. It's called A Letter to You, and it will help people get unstuck. But I think the big thing is that it's one foot in front of the other. And so my dad, when I was growing up, would use this sports analogy and this sports practice that this sports psychologist for their team always uses. And basically what it is whatever room you're in right now, whatever room I'm in right now, I'm going to envision walking from one side of the room to the other side of the room. No problem. You can do that. It's easy. Put one foot in front of the other. You walk to the other side of the room. It's like 10 feet. Cool. Okay. You do that. Now we're going to put a tightrope 50 feet up, same distance. It's the exact same distance, 10 feet, but it's 50 feet in the air. Can you do it? And everyone says, hell no, I'm not doing that. But it's the exact same process. It's the exact same journey. It's one foot in front of the other. It's just that the risk has increased. The vulnerability has increased. So you get in your head and you're like, I can't do it. I'm going to die. I can't do it. I'm going to get whatever. So that was such a powerful exercise for me, and I use it all the time because it's the truth. If you focus on the outcome and you focus on the end goal and you focus on all of the risks and all of the judgment and all of the things that are going to come with whatever it is that you want to do, you're crippled. You're never going to do it.
Yeah.
If you focus on putting one foot in front of the other each day, you are moving forward and you will get to your goal. And it's about taking each step with excellence, with confidence, and that will get you further faster than trying to say, I'm going to build a 7-figure business in the next year. A lot of people say that. How are you going to do it? And then when you get there and you haven't done it, then it's like shame, guilt, all these things that come up. Instead of being like, okay, this month I did 5K. My first month in business, I did 5K. Great. Okay. So how do I fix that for the next month? Or how do I keep going for the next 10? How do I increase it? That's just one example, but like it can be with anything in life, and baby steps are the key. And taking that big audacious goal and breaking it into small wins, because the small wins are what's going to propel you further faster. And for me, there's things that I have to do every day to get out of my own way and to get out of my head. And it's simple as like, I literally wake up in the morning with like my own little playlist I've created that motivates me every day.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. And it works. Like I sat on my patio today and like listened to it, and it's like all my favorite songs and all.
What's one song on that playlist?
Oh my God. It's the most random mix. Like it has everything from like Kehlani, which is like R&B, like crazy. And then I have country. I have Tim McGraw, Live Like You're Dying. It was my
God, I listened to that yesterday. So good.
My grandpa's favorite, my papa's favorite song, and it just like really hits home for me. There's another song, It's a Great Day to Be Alive. Rise Up by Under Day. Like it's all songs that for me,
I love it,
are just like they get me going. And as cheesy as it sounds, it works for me. So it's finding what works for you every day and creating a routine every day. And if say you're in a full-time job and what you want to do is start a business, every day do a little bit of research. Every day do something that is going to get you a little bit closer to that goal. And it's things as simple as like set a meeting or make a phone call or invest in a program or go back to school or whatever it is. You're not going to get there overnight. Nothing happens overnight. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Just take it one step at a time.
I love that. I love that. And you can use that concept in every single area of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful. And I think a really cool thing about you that I noticed, in business and maybe in other areas of your life, you can tell me, but you do play the long game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this whole concept of Kaizen, which is that Japanese term of like continuous improvement with like tiny, tiny steps, because then we're not tricking out the brain, you know?
100%. We're not tricking out the brain and we're not freaking ourselves out because those big audacious goals, I love them. Everyone should have them. But if that's all you're focused on and you have no baby steps or little wins in between, it's going to be really overwhelming. And it's a conversation that's come up for me a lot lately because I just hit a big milestone with my YouTube channel, which is 100,000 subscribers.
So freaking cool.
Thank you. But I think the funny thing is it happened relatively fast. Like it was 2 years. It happened relatively fast. My channel's grown very fast. But I never set out when I started it to have 100,000 subscribers. I was like, if I get 1,000 in the first 6 months, great. And then I was at like 25,000 in the first 6 months. And I came from a place of, I just want to help people and I want to share my knowledge. And that's what pulled me further faster. And that's where it comes back to me. If you come from a place of service, if you come from a place of generosity, you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve because that's what resonates with people. If you're coming at it from like, I need to hit this goal. I want to hit this milestone. I need to get there today.
Yeah.
People don't care because everybody's got their own things that they want to achieve.
Yeah. I think one of my mentors said, like, you'll get everything that you want in life by just giving value first and by serving. Show up and serve.
100%.
Like, it's interesting. Before Sunny and I got on this call, we have the same business coach. And we were talking about, like, I'm so removed from numbers from my business to a fault, you know, like that was basically like, you know, and I'm getting better, but it's like, it's ingrained in me that you show up and you serve, show up and you serve. And that's all you do. And even from a young age, you know, like teaching dance or whatever it is. And I love, this is an interesting little loop. Showing up and serving while still putting yourself first. There it is. I've never said that before. So let's not confuse like giving from an empty cup and
100%.
There we go. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's
exactly
what it is.
And serving, but serving yourself first.
Yes.
Serving yourself first.
Yes.
Because you will have all the abundance in the world to serve if you serve yourself first. I love that.
Yes.
I love
and
that.
I think it's, we live in such a time. It's the best time to be alive. It's a dope time to be alive. However, we also live in a time of such comparison, such information overwhelm, such distraction that it's really easy to do things from a place of like, I should do this because so-and-so's doing it or so-and-so's doing it at that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
If you're operating like that, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
If you're operating from a place of like, I'm going to do what works for me. And the amount of times for me that people are like, you should do a podcast. You should start doing live streams every day. You should start doing da-da-da-da. And I'm like, la, 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 like, bye.
Totally.
Because that's not my jam. And I'm one person and I don't have time to do all those things. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kill it at what I'm really good at. And I'm going to focus my energy on one thing. I'm not going to try and do 50 different things at once because that's not serving anybody, including myself. So I always say to people, I'm like, what comes most naturally to you? And whatever that is, and whatever you get the most gratitude for in your life, focus on that.
Yeah.
And just keep doing a little bit of it every single day and you're going to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's you and I both read this book. I think we talked about it. The One Thing.
Yes.
The One Thing. Yeah.
So good.
That's basically like, we'll put the link to that book below. Who wrote that?
I don't remember who
sorry.
But it's funny because I was actually talking about that last night too. It's I was talking about it with somebody about just focusing on one thing in your business at a time. And like, if you look at the most successful businesses in the world, and this is in the first chapter of the book, Starbucks, coffee, that's it. Microsoft, computers, that's it. Lululemon, women's pants, that was it for a long time. And then they branched out. Like, focus on being good at one thing. And that's not just your products. That's also like your platforms. Like, where are you focusing your energy? And I always say, put 75% of your time into whatever comes most naturally to you online. And then 25% into everything else.
I love that.
That's the formula for success, because you are one person. And even if you have a team, it doesn't matter. You still want to be excelling at the things that you're really good at. So for me, video came easy. So I was like, YouTube makes sense. I'll do it. Easy. But blogging, hell no, does not work for me. Like, it is not my jam.
Me too.
I can do it, but it's painful. So it's going with like whatever you're in flow with, that's where you want to stick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And it's interesting. It's like, again, this whole like societal conditioning of, in order to be successful, it has to be hard. Like, people are working under that all the time, and not just in business, but in everything. You know, it's like, what if we just decided that we could be wildly successful, happy, and it can be easy and we can be in flow?
Yeah, totally.
Like, go figure, right?
Go figure. Well, and I think that's the interesting thing too. And like, you and a few other people have said to me, like, you really do focus on the long game. And it's not something that term wasn't even something that I ever really thought about until a few months ago. And I do notice that I do that in everything in my life. And so I agree that like, you have to be in flow. It should come easy. It should just be like innately happy. But I also understand, and I think we live in such a society of instant gratification now, that like, even with relationships with people, it's like, that's not working. Bye. I'm out.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to a place with, whether it's business or my personal relationships, friendships, whatever it may be, if there's a bump in the road, it's been a practice for me not to be like, okay, bye.
Totally.
Like, no, you can stay in your power. You can be centered. You can have this conversation. You can work through it, and you don't have to run.
I love that.
As long as nobody's being abused or disrespected on like a massive scale. People are human. People need forgiveness. We've all got our shit. And you can work through a lot of things. I have my boundaries, and I have certain things that like are my triggers to be like, okay, you know what? This is not working. But it's not as easy for me as it used to be to just pick up and leave, because that was my defense mechanism. And that really hurt me in a lot of ways. So I'm at a place now where I'm like, push through and have the conversations in the moment you need to have the conversations. Don't dwell on things for like 30 days. Cause that's what I used to do. Cause I wanted to be so careful with my wording. Now I'm like, say it, and the person is not going to run. They're going to stick around. It's okay. So I think that's been a big key to like finding my flow and making life easier. And in kind of an ironic way, is like understanding that things aren't going to be perfect, but if they aren't perfect, just have the conversation.
Absolutely. Is your stress response flight? Like when things get, me too. I realized that recently.
My stressors, it is. So it's flight, and it's also complete and utter distraction into work. I will just like, I'll be like, don't want to deal with it. I'll just get my head down and work.
Totally.
So that's been something that I've noticed for like 2 years that I do. And it's productive. I get so much stuff done, but it's not productive for myself and like for my own happiness. So I've had to get better at being like, okay, I'm not feeling good about this. I need to not just dive into work. I need to go and figure this out before I can get back to it.
There's something deeper going on. I want to circle back and touch on comparison, because I think like, is it possible to live in this world without comparing? I don't know. Is it? Yeah. Right. And I think like part of being your own boss, and if I can use your words, you say staying in your own lane. Something that you say a lot is like staying in your own lane, being your boss. Part of that is like recognizing like our innate like pull to compare. But what I would love to hear from you is like, when you know, like, first of all, do you do that? And if so, when you notice yourself like going down that path and like comparing yourself, like what are some tactics or practices that you use to get yourself back in your lane?
Yeah, great question. So I think for me, it's human nature. Even before social media, even before all this stuff came up, it's human nature to compare. but it's another one of those things that I notice I compare myself the most, and I'm more focused on other people when I'm not feeling great about myself.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling really solid in myself, I actually feel no need to look at other people. And I think a big part of why things have grown really fast for me is because I have stayed in my own lane, and I kind of refuse to assimilate to the norms of what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so one of my tactics is, if I find myself going down the rabbit hole of just like scrolling on Instagram and like looking what everyone's doing, I consciously now, because I think a big thing for me recently is like, that's the rabbit hole. And I really don't want to be one of those people who's so addicted to my phone that I'm in the midst of being with family and friends and I'm like, and I'll catch myself doing it sometimes, and I hate it. And so what I've learned to do is really just consciously be like, put the phone down. And it's not me like getting mad at myself or like being hard on it. It's just being like, put the phone down, be present. And it's like a moment of like, okay, I'm back, and like being present in the moment. So that's one big part of it. And another really interesting thing that I've been kind of trying to navigate recently is that I have like pretty specific brand colors and a brand aesthetic and all this stuff. And I've noticed, and I'm seeing it everywhere. And it's like, there's a part of me that wants to say like, I see you, like I see you copying my shit all day, every day. Cause it's happening a lot. And I have to just take it with a grain of salt and be like, it's flattering. It's fine. And what I've come to realize is that if people are copying someone else, and that's how they're building their momentum and their success, in my opinion, that success is never really theirs. Their success belongs to the person who created it in the first place. And I'm not saying that from a place of ego. I'm just saying it from a place of like, I truly want people to be their own boss, and I want them to come up with their own shit and pave their own path and create their own lane and then stay in it. But I also understand I think I kind of like summarized it actually in a post recently. It's like imitation versus inspiration. Inspiration is awesome. And like, I look at people in all different industries. I'll look at your stuff. I'll look at people in all these different industries, and I'll be like, that's really rad what they're doing. And I highly recommend that, because you can learn something from everybody. Doesn't matter who they are. Everybody has something to teach you.
For sure.
And so I think you can look at things through the lens of like, I need some inspiration right now. So I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go look at this person's site, or I'm going to, whatever it may be, find a way to find inspiration. And for me, that means like going for a run, going to get some exercise, get a breather. And then sometimes it means like doing a deep dive on other people's stuff and being like, what are they doing that's working? That's awesome. But I don't look at their stuff and go like, okay, they're using this color, this font, this thing, and I'm going to take that all for myself. Because that's not my success. That's me just copying, and that's imitation. So there's a big difference between inspiration and imitation. And I think being inspired is something everybody needs in their life on a daily basis. So find what inspires you. But when it comes to imitating people or comparing yourself to people, understand that the only true success you can ever have is the one that you build and the one that you create for yourself. And so I think it's really easy too, because we live in a time of like so many people wanting to be entrepreneurs. It's easy to get in your head and be like, well, Sunny already does social media, like I can't talk about social media. Or like Sam already talks about like body image, I can't talk about body image. And so I get that, and it's terrifying. And when you're walking into that space, you're like, oh, it's already so cluttered. But if you do it your own way, and I am a walking testament to this, I didn't look at anybody on YouTube, because I didn't start YouTube with the intention of building a brand or building a following. I did it to help my clients at the time. And so I didn't do any research. I didn't look at anybody else. I didn't compare myself to anybody else. And I just kind of did it how I wanted to do it. And that really attributed to my success. So I think it's just, creating your own way to do things.
Yeah. I love that. I love the whole like imitation versus inspiration thing. And I think we can use that in business. We can use that in everything.
Totally.
It's like,
well, and it's just like, it's understanding too, sorry to cut you off, but I think it's just like, it's understanding too that on social, nobody shares the real shit. Like,
I know. Like, what's that about? When's that going to start happening? When's that going to start happening?
I actually just started on Friday, because I was so exhausted. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to post something perfect today. I want to post like the real shit. So I posted a photo of me standing in my boyfriend's t-shirt in the middle of a hallway in a hotel in Indianapolis, because I locked myself out of my hotel room. And I was like, this is what happens to me on a daily basis. Like sometimes I am an idiot. Sometimes I make like dumbest mistakes, and that's okay. And
that's okay.
Real.
That's what makes you human.
I have no makeup on. I don't care. Like, and it's, I have to say, it was so liberating. It was so liberating to just share the whole
real stuff.
And it's not that I'm not truthful in everything else I do, but like to be successful, there is an element of having to have these perfectly manicured moments.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I get that, but it's also really important. And I think it's really important for everybody's sanity to share the realness.
Yes. Yeah.
Share your, I'm calling it Unfiltered Friday. And I think I'm going to do it every Friday because every day I make mistakes.
I love that Unfiltered Friday.
Like I do stupid shit every Friday. So, or every day. And I'm just going to share it on Fridays. So I do like, if people in my life are like, how do you run a business sometimes? Like, honestly, I don't know. I think it's just like, it's being honest, and it's funny, like whether it's your business, which is, it's tough. If you're an entrepreneur right now, it's tough because everybody's sharing the highlight reel, but nobody's sharing the fact that, like, for me, it's been nearly a decade getting to where I'm at now. And I don't even feel like I'm getting started. Like I still feel like I have so far to go. For you, it's been years and years and years. It takes work, and it takes blood, sweat, and tears, and it takes moments of exhaustion, and it takes moments of huge failures and big mistakes and costly mistakes. And it's important to talk about those things because I think that it creates a lot of depression within people and a lot of sadness when they're only seeing this highlight reel and they're like, well, my life's not going that way.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram, you know, is probably, it's beautiful in so many ways, but it's probably like one of the worst things for mental health.
100%.
Yeah. And I think and I love it. And I think as a response, we as like leaders, entrepreneurs, whatever, we do have a responsibility to share the darkness as well as the light, because that's that's the whole spectrum of being a human. It's like, it's all the shit. It's all this stuff. And
all the shit.
A lot of our power and like the whole essence of like being your own boss, that stuff is found in our pain. It's found in the darkness. It's found in those moments of like, okay, I need to really cultivate this so I can grow and I can use this as a learning opportunity. So 100%. I love that you share that. And I can't wait for those Fridays. You know what? This conversation could literally last all day.
I know.
So I know we'll have you back on the show. I know we will.
Awesome. I'd love it.
I love you, girl. Thank you. Thank you for all those wisdom bombs. And thank you for being so relatable and so real and just serving and just like being you. Cause it's like, it's incredible. And I love what you're doing in the world. And I feel super honored that you're one of my soul sisters.
Thank you.
So you have an amazing rest of your day. And can you just like quickly give us obviously your YouTube channel is like thebomb.com. But where can people find you? Give us a little snippet of that.
So people can find me at just sunnylenarduzzi.com, and then I'm Sunny Lenarduzzi on every social platform, and I'm active in all of them. So you can find me everywhere.
Yeah. So we will put all of those links to all of her work in the show notes for you guys. So thanks, my dear. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on the Hungry for Happiness podcast. You can join the conversation with women just like yourself at hungryonfacebook.com. Until next week, ladies, stay classy and badass.